Welcome back to this month's episode of Lakeside in Focus. I'm Molly Stineman, and this month we're going to be taking a look at the inclusive aspects of Lakeside. A unique, family-oriented event.
I don't know many school districts that do this, and I just say kudos to Mr. Cook for sure.
Two baseball teams coming together.
The biggest takeaway would be how two teams, really two worlds apart, were so similar.
A way Lakeside adapts to the needs of students. Let's take a look at how the district looks after families and not just the student.
I appreciate it because it's just above and beyond what's called for. All the administrators, the teachers, the physical therapists, they go above and beyond, and I don't know many school districts that do this, and I just say kudos to Mr. Cook for sure.
Sean Cook, Lakeside superintendent, has a massive heart that provides every student and family with the needs that benefits them best.
Parents Night Out started 7 years ago. Our first Parents Night Out was actually in December this month, and so we started with one student. Mr. Cook, he was our star for our I Can Dance class. It was at the recital, he danced with our group, and he noticed that our parents, it took a lot for them. They were very hands-on with their children at the recital, and he thought, I really want to do something for our parents and our families of our students with special needs.
I have the advantage of knowing Mr. Cook on a professional level, and then as my friend, I work here at Lakeside, and I don't know of a bigger advocate for children with special needs other than parents of children with special needs than Mr. Cook. And so he said he started this program because one day he was talking to me and my eyes looked sad, and I was exhausted, probably, most likely. And he said he just wanted to do something to help, and he had gone home to talk to his wife about it, and they came up with this plan to have, like, once every few months, a night out for parents with children with special needs, just to give you a break, just to have some downtime. Because having a child with special needs, you're on constant alert all the time. There's not downtime.
The Parents Night Out event that Mr. Cook created is a night out for Lakeside's parents of the special needs students. There are 4 different events in a year where each event is planned based on what season is occurring at the time. Lakeside grants the opportunity for parents of special needs students to have a well-deserved break.
Good?
Yep.
Have you been a good boy this year?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure you're on the good list?
Yes.
Well, then what would you like Santa to bring you this year?
I bring a wallet.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, buddy.
For me as a parent, it just gives me a chance to breathe and a chance to. Sometimes I sit down and I think I'm going to go do something really fun, and I sit down on my couch and then I'm like, I doze off and fall asleep, and so I take a nap. And other days I run to Walmart. It's just little things that sometimes you take for granted that you just can't do with a child with a disability, a severe disability, and you just go and take care of business.
It's great to have a chance to do things where Grady, who has some special needs, can still have care. We're not worried about it. It's not very many places you can go to do that, even though he is very high functioning. So it's a very, very nice treat. It's a great thing of being with Lakeside.
Since starting out with one student in 2007, Parents Night Out has grown drastically, along with the appreciation from the parents of Lakeside.
Now we have 20 students that have signed up, so we have really increased the number of students that participate.
And I think it's just something that is extra special about Lakeside, and it makes the day count for the kiddos. They just know they're given a little extra special treatment, and just loved unconditionally and accepted no matter what the disability is.
What an incredible way to serve the school community. For our next story, let's take a look at how the baseball team got to host the Japanese baseball team for a week.
For the past 25 years, Lakeside and Hanamaki Higashi have had a sister city relationship, but this year was a little different. Lakeside had the opportunity to host our sister city baseball team. They created bonds that would last forever through their love for baseball.
We would be out here for 5 or 6 hours practicing at a time. They never stopped. It was a sprint nonstop. That's not something we see in America a lot. We may be out here for 5 hours, but it's not a sprint for 5 straight hours. Those guys would go. Through the baseball.
離れたまんまで振ると結局不自然な動きのまま振ることになる。
I learned a lot on and off the field. They had a really amazing coach. He was a genius, and the way they played just inspired me. My biggest takeaway would have to be just how they played the game, because they played it so fast and with such a respect. Every time they walked off the field, they told the field thank you for, I guess, being here. But they just had so much respect.
今日の試合で投げてしっかり抑えるということです。ファーストも一緒にやるそうです。キープファースト。普通のモーション。
Baseball was the thread that brought these two teams together to not only learn more about the game, but about each other.
The biggest takeaway would be how two teams, really two worlds apart, were so similar. They work extremely hard. The two teams seem to mesh really well after a few days of working together, and it's just, I think it shows how when you work for a common goal, people are going to come together and be able to build those relationships that bring them closer together.
Whenever we actually knew that they were coming, I was kind of like shocked, and I thought that they were like going to be like superstars, like people in the major leagues, but they came over here and they were just like us. They were just high school baseball players.
Despite the language barrier, they were able to come together as two teams that love the game of baseball.
We definitely, throughout the week, we created a bond that I think will last a lifetime. It's something that it was really special to me, and at the end, Matsumoto, which was like my guy, he really felt like a brother to me.
In the beginning, it was kind of hard, but as the week went along, our bonds definitely grew stronger. And at the end of the week, it really felt like a brotherhood.
野球では非常にバッティングのことをですね、レイクサイド高校に教えていただいて、すごく勉強になりました。私生活、普通の生活ではですね、いろんな触れ合いの中でレイクサイド高校の方々によくしていただいてですね、本当に今感謝の気持ちでいっぱいですし、なんかこの交流の大切さを改めて学びました。
And once the week got on, we all of us grew closer, and instead of us being like from Hanamaki or from Lakeside, it was all like we were just one big team, one big family out there on the field.
Wow, what great memories both teams will have forever. Now let's take a look at how Lakeside includes all students despite their backgrounds and hardships.
Hey, Amber, after this, I want to try that bicycle.
Isaiah is a first grader who lives with osteogenesis imperfecta, also known as brittle bones. The school and teachers work together to allow kids who have limitations to have the same experience as their peers and feel safe.
So with Isaiah, we work on things that are difficult for him. So being in his wheelchair, he's mastered most of his wheelchair skills. He can transfer in and out, for the most part, to a level surface or to his classroom chair. If he needs to transfer to the floor, then we work on how we do that. We can lift him into his chair. Now our school's been very good about, if there's a student or a child at any building, I always try to make sure we do like a wheelchair accessibility. Of course, new buildings have to have a handicap accessible entrance, a push button. But they've also integrated that into primary. They do have a wonderful accessible area that they've made both at the primary and intermediate playgrounds. So it has an accessible surface, it's nice and flat. It has equipment that you're able to wheel up to if you're in a wheelchair. You don't have to be able to stand to do those tasks. We have handicap accessible swings. That is good.
One of the primary reasons I was hired last year to perform the job I did was to look after him because he needs that one-on-one help. And that's a pretty big monetary commitment from the school district.
And with Isaiah last year, his wheelchair was shorter. And so he couldn't fit at the desks like the other children. So what we did was we took single desks and we took the legs off of them and we shortened them. So his desk was shorter, but he was still participating with his peers in every ring.
Not only does Lakeside service the needs of the students, but they also go out of their way to express support and thoughtfulness.
I think from a teacher's perspective, it's always important for a class to feel comfortable, for everybody in the class to feel comfortable and feel like they're being treated equally by the teacher and by other students. When there's not equity within a classroom, I think it really affects learning.
When it starts with the administration teachers not treating these kids different, then the kids are better to not treat them differently. They just have a lot of compassion and they don't want them to be isolated or singled out, but they want to include them. If the kids are in the floor, he's in the floor. If the kids are in a chair, he's in a chair. If they're on the carpet, he's on the carpet. If they're moved to a different station, then he's with them all the time. So his perspective is the same as the other students. Last year when Isaiah, Wishbone Day. So that's the day where they really bring awareness to brittle bone or osteogenesis imperfecta. And the class, Miss Broughton went out of her way to make sure that the class knew about it and wore yellow in support.
They supported me, and so did my teacher, and all the teachers in there wore yellow. If they had like any different yellow shirt, like they would wear yellow. If they had any yellow, they would wear it for my day.
To put that amount of time into one student is a lot to ask, and I think all the teachers and everybody who worked with Isaiah were happy to do it. And I think that's different about Lakeside, is that there wasn't any eye rolling or, oh, I got to do this for another kid. It was all genuine.
Lakeside truly does strive to help all students. Thank you so much for watching this month's episode, and we'll see you next month.